Okay, this is the beginning of week 6's labs. For those of you that are not part of the class, what we're going to be doing today is talking about the very basic process of converting a CSV file, that is a text file with latitude and longitude, into a point feature class. And we're going to do this in both Arc Desktop, ArcMap, this is in 7.1, although similar to all the other ones, and then we'll also do it in ArcPRO. So what I've done here is I have a couple of text files in the CSV format. So these are Excel files that I've saved as CSV, and in general that's a good idea in terms of how to do this. Then what I also have is some background data that we're going to be working with, and the question we're really asking is about bear mortality, bear roadkill, and the roads in Florida. And so what I have here is Florida non-motor accidents, that is cars hitting people, and that makes kind of an interesting comparison to where that happens relative to where bears get hit. And so again, what we have here, if you're not familiar with the ArcMap environment, one of the things to remember is that if I click on list by drawing order, this little icon right here, you'll notice that my tables aren't present, and that's because they're not drawn yet. If we click on the source, what you'll notice here is that I can see that all of my feature classes are located on my iDrive in the working data and the working data geodatabase. My tables are simply located in the folder working data. And so in ArcMap, kind of the standard procedure, unless of course you're doing this in a model environment, is to simply right click on the table, and we're going to select Display XY Data. You click on that, and so again, the file we've selected is the non-motor vehicle CSV file, and it actually happens to have both an X and Y coordinate, and it also has a latitude and longitude. Now in this case they're actually the same fields, but what I want you to get used to is if you have a latitude and longitude field, you should get used to using those. So again, our X field is longitude and our Y field is latitude. And again, I could have done this with either X is X and Y is Y if that's what your fields are named. And then what we're going to do here is, in this case I happen to know that this is the data was collected in a format that is WGS84 and it's geographic. So I'm going to click on my edit here, and I'm going to go to my geographic data, and I'm going to go into world, and I'm going to go to WGS84. That's all the information I have on this, and so that's what I'm going to select. If I had more information, I could certainly pick another geographic coordinate system, or if I'm working with UTM coordinates, I could have picked that type of projection, a projected coordinate system. And so now all you have to do is hit OK. And we'll click OK again. And you'll notice that it says does not have an object ID field. In ArcMap, it's simply making what we call an event theme. That is a non-permanent visualization of tabular data. And so I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to turn off my other point features. And we'll get to see these are in fact the non-motor or motorized events. That is, this is a car hitting a person. And so if I open up this, we will see in fact, just a moment, it's opening up all of these. I'm going to bring the table over. We'll see all of our events, and they are now in a point fashion. And so we can see them all scattered throughout the state. Now you'll notice again right here it says events. This means it's not permanent. So what I'm going to do here to make this an actual feature class, I'm going to right click on it, go to my data, and export it. And in this case where I want to export this to is it's in my week 6, but it's in my results. And what I'm going to do is put that into my results folder as, and this is going to be Florida non-motor. Okay, and hit save. And I'm going to say that I want it to save in the layer source data. That is what I set the text file's coordinate system to. Click OK. And there they are. And so I want to add that, and now I have those points, and they're co-occurrent with the other ones. What that means though is I can now get rid of the event theme, and I now have a permanent feature class. Okay, so that's in the Arc map environment. I'm going to slide my ArcPRO right over this, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. There's two different ways of doing it in Arc map. The first is very much like what I just did. I can go to my Florida non-motor data, and again, you'll notice here I've added all of this to my contents area in a map in ArcPRO. I'm going to right click on it, and you'll notice that it actually has a similar construct, display XY data. But you'll notice here and that it says something a little different. It says create a point feature class. Now a point feature class is in fact a feature class. That is, it has geometry and it will be stored in a geodatabase. So when I click on that, you'll notice that it opens up the geoprocessing window. So I've entered my CSV file. It's not a dumb program, if you will. It populates the X field with X, Y field with Y, and then it assumes it defaults to GCS WGS 84, which is in fact correct. And where I want its output location is probably the most important thing. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to go into my results, and I'm going to put, again, I'm going to take the same thing, but I'm going to put Pro on the end of it just so we can distinguish the two. Click Save, and then all I have to do is click Run. And you'll notice that it's cranking through, and it uses the tool XY table to point. It's worth noting that that's what you could use in the model builder to do the same thing. It'll take a minute, and there they are. And I'm going to turn again off our other points. And we can see that again, there are road data, and it says it's done. And I'm just going to close my geoprocessing window, and we have the same thing. So in both environments, it's a very straightforward way of doing this. Now the only thing I will point out is that instead of adding the table here as again a standalone table, I could have come in and added data and selected directly. In other words, if I don't want to add the table to my map, I could have gone right here to XY point data, clicked on that, and it would have asked me for the table. And so you don't ever actually have to add the table to ArcPRO. You can go right into the geoprocessing, add table data, and it will make it directly. Again, you'll notice that that's in exactly the same geoprocessing window. So you can do it either way. Again, what I would do here, same idea. I would pick the non-motor CSV, it'll populate it, and then it would put that out to the same results location. In this case, it defaults into a table to point option. Again, I'm not going to do it again. We're going to get out of that. Don't need to do that again. And that would be the same process. So that's creating point data from tabular data. When I come back, what we're going to be doing is talking a little bit about address geocoding. So we'll see that next time.